friends. Holy moly, we're already at week 5. Can you believe it? This has been crazy. So, hi guys, Angela here. If you're following along with us, we're doing the book It's Never Too Late to Begin Again by Julia Cameron. This all about discovering creativity and meaning at midlife and beyond, and we're at week 5. So if you're just hearing this for the first time, I'm just doing it as I have time. I'm not following it exactly every week because I have a lot of appointments and this and that going on. So you can catch up anytime. You can start watching anytime. You can start reading anytime and join in. You can go back and watch. I made a playlist called It's Never Too Late to Begin Again Book Club. And you can just start at week 1 and go through the book on your own time with your journal and do all of the tasks, the written tasks and stuff, and the weekly tasks, and work alongside at any time you want. It's not rigid. So I'm really enjoying this. So here I am again in my room, my office. It's really dim. The sun's kind of going down, so it might be a little bit fuzzy. But hopefully you can hear me okay. And that will be good. I've got my little snowball. So should be pretty good. Okay, so week 4 that we just did was reigniting a sense of purpose. And oh my gosh, I had so many like breakthrough moments in that week, honestly. So much things came up when I read about the taking a U-turn and how, maybe I'll just review that really quickly. Let me see, how it can leave a significant impact. Oh, pardon me. So many people have experienced what I call creative U-turns, which is where they are working along in an art form only to abandon it, and often suddenly and completely. It might be quitting flute lessons in 4th grade. It might be turning your back on cooking after you've had your first child. It might be, I don't remember making a clear decision about something, but you just stopped. You had some big dreams and you started all these projects and then you left them to die out. Hang on a minute. So, wow. Sorry, I had a coughing attack. That just was so like interesting to me because in my journal, I wrote all like a whole list of random things that I have started and never finished, were all these big ideas I had, and some reason I stopped them. And I look back and I can think about why it happened. Like there was a health crisis, we moved to a different location, and then life just gets ahead of you and you stop doing it. There were so many things that I can recall stopping and starting. And so I don't know, but that was like significant to me. Please leave me a comment if you felt something with those moments. And if you felt like any of those things that you stopped doing, you really regret and you might want to continue to still do. So week 5, reigniting a sense of honesty. So before I go, in case you guys are new, and basically the point of the tasks in this book is that there's journaling. If you want to, you can just read the book and do the tasks. But I think you get the most out of it if you do as many of the things as you can. I'm not doing it all because I just don't have time in my schedule to do every single thing, but I'm trying as many as I possibly can. I'm doing pretty good. Where I'm lacking is in the artist dates, which she calls a once weekly thing where you go do something really special for yourself. I haven't been doing a lot of that because the weather has been like crazy here, like very cold. So I'm using a lot of my thinking time as in my walks and exercising and things like that. So, but basically what we're doing is four things: walking 20 minutes every day, or she's saying twice weekly. Just a solo walk without a dog, without your phone, without a friend, just thinking. And then a once weekly artist date where you go to a bakery or a bookstore or a sewing store or like I'm just saying things that appeal to me, but it could be anything that you like. Maybe you want to go to like a fitness center or um a craft fair or a mall or a certain store that you like, or maybe it's just anything, whatever that is for you that is so fun. Maybe it's going kayaking. Um, and then morning pages, writing when you get up, right after you make coffee or tea or whatever your morning routine is. You just sit down and it's almost like a brain dump where you're just dumping your thoughts and you're just writing, just you're not judging anything you write, you're not criticizing your thoughts, you're just letting, like, writing like stream of consciousness writing. And you're doing that 3 pages every single day. So I have to admit, I have been lacking in that department, but I have been doing a lot of writing, but not, I've been doing it not as early. And I know why you do it early is because it really does get everything out of your brain that you've been thinking about or you've had slept on, and it's right out there, and you really do have a more productive day. I notice when I do my morning pages, my days are way more productive because so many things come out of my mind that I got to do. Even if I'm writing something like, don't forget to make a doctor's appointment, don't forget to phone the dentist back. Um, just whatever it is, you're just getting everything out of your brain. Something just I remember and I'm like, oh, right, I got to do that. And then just how you feel, just your emotions, what thoughts, anything that comes to mind. And that's sometimes those morning pages, that's where the goodness is. That's where all the deep thoughts are. That's where all the stuff that is really going on inside is. And it also shows you where you're like out of attunement, almost out, like you've been running around and you're not self-aware of all the things that you've been doing. And when you write that down, I noticed that I'm far more self-aware that I wasn't aware because if I'm writing these certain things, and so it brings you back into more of an attunement phase state, and you feel more connected to yourself and your body and your emotions. And so I don't know about you guys, I don't mean to ramble, but I found that very powerful. So let me know what you think. So those are the 4 tasks. So each week we read a little bit and then we journal on, oh, I didn't say the 4th one. The 4th one was called memoir, which is just journaling out the tasks that she gives you. And then in the end, if you decide that you're going to start the book with like a journal, you'll have your own little, if you write along with all the journal pages, you'll have your own little thing you can look back on of all your things you jotted down, or it can be bullet points, it can be paraphrases, journals, anything you want, paragraphs, whatever you want in your book. I just use it to kind of jot down my thoughts about each week and kind of write down a lot of the little tasks that I want to do and that she gives you. So I do want to do a bit extra reading in this one because this one was like, there's only a few topics in Chapter 5, Reigniting a Sense of Honesty, Week 5. But it's really deep and long, and it's a bit longer than the last one. So I do want to just read this in case you don't have the book, because like I said, you do not have to have the book. If you want the book, I've got a link below for the book where you can order it. But if you don't want to order it, or you want to get it from the library, or you just want to follow along, I'll give you all the journal prompts and stuff that the book already says, and I'll kind of give you the highlights, the best parts of the chapter so that you can use and write in your journal. That's kind of what I've been trying to do each week. So this is what she says. At this point in the process, you are likely to remember a time when the structure of your life, living at home, going to school, disappeared, and you were suddenly faced with creating a new life for yourself. The same challenges apply to retirement, and that could be just if you're not, maybe you're not retired, but you've had a midlife transition, or your children have all moved out, or you have a chronic illness, or whatever that is for you, some sort of significant change has happened in your life, and maybe you feel lost. That's what brought me to this book in the first place. The essays and tools this week will help you live more honestly by resisting the impulse to please others or do what's expected of you. Perhaps in your work or family life up until now, you've had to toe the line in order to fit in at a job or be a good parent. But now that the kids and job are gone, you can get in touch with what you really think. As you come to know yourself, the light you have see increases, and you present to yourself and the world a more complete, authentic, and unique persona. I thought that was a really nice intro to this chapter. So the topics in this chapter are: the truth is, the drought of doubt, shadow artists, and crazy makers. Oh, that was pretty funny when I read that one. Okay, so one of the most empowering things we can do is to know our own opinions. It's easy in a workplace or in our lives to get into habits, perhaps subtle, where we censor ourselves to some degree. We want to be nice people, good people, cooperative people. We want to be good colleagues, good collaborators, good friends, and relatives. This is all well and good unless or until we act this way at the expense of our own truth. But of course, I'm an honest person, you may be thinking, and that may well be true. It's not about whether you're honest or not, and you'll see that that's not what it is. But it's honest about certain things in your life and facing things. But of course, I'm an honest person, you may be thinking. We are not talking here about dishonesty on an ethical sense. We're talking about looking at the small ways we may have ignored our own small voice when our honest opinion of the situation was squashed in favor of a less complicated consensus. The problem with this choice is that slowly over time, moments where we do not speak up for our own values start to chip away at our self-esteem. I'm an opinionated person slowly, sneakily morphs into I'm an agreeable person, one small concession at a time. Often when we start to think about what we really think and how we really feel, we scare ourselves, or maybe we intimidate others. As we slowly move towards owning and articulating our true feelings, values, and opinions, the unexpected result is that the other people, despite their initial surprise at the change, ultimately feel safer with us than they once did. When we know where we stand, so do others. When we develop more secure and honest relationships. So the point of this is to say, are we ignoring that small voice inside of us and agreeing with people, just not to disrupt or to have a different opinion on something? So this one's really interesting to me. So she talks about, she uses, of course, her different people and their own examples and stuff in the book. And she's talking to somebody named Delia, and Delia says, I have 100 ideas floating around, she says. It's just that I would need to know which ones are the most viable before I start. And she says, the ones most viable, I tell her, are the ones that are most honest and most honestly exciting to her. I suggest you search for clues in your memoir. These are the notes in your journal you've written, your daily morning pages, whatever that may be, for clues. Are there reoccurring themes? What does she like to read? What did she used to like to read? What are her favorite plays? Does she think about? Looking back, she struck a realization that her whole life she'd been constantly spent fighting for what was right. And goes on to say that, she always agreed, but she was a fighter and she cared about justice. And then she realized that she wanted to start over and go to school and go into, I believe, become a lawyer and things like that. So those neat little things that can just trigger that moment of thought of what you are pondering that maybe you want to do, or you're confused with, well, what do I do now? Where do I begin again? How do I start? It's stressful. It's you have to really dig and excavate your life and prioritize, to me, what really matters going forward, not knowing how much time you may have, but also making the time that you do have precious and doing what you want to do. So it's very, it's a definitely one of these. So she goes to say that morning pages compel us towards honesty. They encourage us to admit how we really feel. Before morning pages, we may feel, I feel okay about that, without examining what okay really means. I feel okay may mean I feel resigned. It may mean I feel hopeless. Or by the way of contrast, it may mean I feel optimistic or pleased. With morning pages when writing, we are encouraged to be specific. When we catch ourselves saying we feel okay, we must delve a little deeper, being honest in our writing and our journaling of our feelings. So even if you're not journaling, just being honest about your feelings and thinking about those moments where you agree or something, or people pleasing and things like that, and you realize you really didn't want to do it, but you didn't say no. Did you not have the courage to say no or be honest with yourself? But anxiety and excitement are such a pair of twins, worried and afraid. As we strive to be more accurate in naming our feelings, we often feel a sense of relief. The act of naming something actually accurately helps lead us to the right action to take and the right thing that we want to say, being honest with ourselves. Often the truth may surprise us. We think we feel one way and officially we do, but unofficially we may feel something quite different. So we may be annoyed, even resentful. We may feel taken advantage of, and that feeling may be poisoned by our own relationship. The difference between our official and unofficial positions may be quite vast, but honesty, facing the difference, actually empowers us. So I thought that that one was really neat thing to think about. So when I saw the chapter was called Reigniting a Sense of Honesty, I thought, well, where am I not being honest? Like, what are we talking about? But it's all those small, listening to that small voice inside of us that has our own opinion and is entitled to feel the way that we feel. Don't have to agree with everybody. We don't have to say yes to everybody when we don't want to do things. To me, it also speaks about boundaries. So that one was interesting. So the tasks for week 5, the questions for your journal, and feel free to pause this video if you don't have the book and you want to write these down. Number 1, describe your major relationships in this period. Number 2, where did you live? Did you live in more than one place? Number 3, what was driving force during this time? Number 4, describe one sound that rings true from this. Number 5, describe one taste from this period. Number 6, describe one strong opinion you held during this period. Number 7, were there parts of your personality that were more pronounced during this time? Number 8, in what ways did you effortlessly express yourself during this time? Number 9, what was the source of frustration during this time? And number 10, what were the other memories that feel significant to you from this time? So before you ask, like, don't know what I'm talking about, every chapter, we use a different time in our life. So for this week for me, I'm ages 18 to 21, but for you, it may be different. So each week of these chapters, I forgot to say that in the beginning for people that are just randomly listening now, the whole point of the age thing with these questions is this memoir, keeping your journal, building this little memoir that I'm calling in this book will be at the end of this 12 weeks, or answering all the questions, doing your random journaling. You can even use the book journal to do your morning pages, but you divide your life into sections. You divide your age by 12, and this is the number of years you will cover each week. So whatever that is for you. So dividing my age by 12, and I'm on chapter 5, that makes me ages 18 to 21 because I'm 48. Yikes. But yeah, some days what you do to go back to 38. I don't think I'd go back to 28 because I just don't have as much life knowledge as you do by maybe 38, just to give you the less wrinkles. But that's okay. They make you who you are. So the next topic of this chapter is the doubt of drought. And she talks about self-doubt as a formidable foe. Because we doubt ourselves, we only have ourselves to fight back against. Self-doubt is often very skillful adversaries, our Achilles heel. Just because our self-doubt might doubt us doesn't mean it's right. When in doubt, don't, the old saying goes. And this is dangerous for creative people because the opposite might be more true. It doesn't matter if you have doubt, try it anyway. Doubt comes from within us and can be voiced in our own best interest, of course. Either way, latching onto doubt tends to stall, frustrate, and confuse us. The work for recent people that are in transition, retiring, that kind of thing, and they're starting something new, maybe you're volunteering, maybe you're retraining, maybe you're getting a new job, maybe you're just trying to be happy doing nothing. Self-doubt is really a painful pitfall. Working there may been less time for doubt at work because you're just doing your daily thing, getting up every day, doing the same thing over and over. And the work itself is probably an area in which you were experienced and had confidence in your abilities. And then suddenly you aren't doing that anymore. And that's where self-doubt creeps in. And this is appears as a blanket rejection of a category ideas or as a tiny, small voice doubting our own capacities. So she goes to use a bunch of different people's examples in here. And then she says, sometimes our self-doubt is triggered by one or more recent situations that challenge us. A friend of mine is being threatened by a former business partner. The idea of a legal battle has been tossed around, and my friend is deeply distressed. From the outside, I see that he's being bullied, and I don't sense that a legal course of action will ultimately come to pass, but he's distracted, disturbed, and projecting what ifs about the future. What if this person ruins me financially? What if this? What if that? And when we are drowning in self-doubt, it's hard to feel that will ever stop. But they do come to an end. Some things take a lot longer than others. And sometimes it's easier than we think to find the silver lining that we suspect might be there, she says. So the task now is to dismantle the doubt. I know I'm doing a lot of reading, but so much of this stuff is so good. And I just thought it was key. So I highlighted a bunch of stuff that I really wanted to read. It is important to give yourself the dignity of grieving your wounds, creative and otherwise. Many times people will acknowledge their wounds, but feel they should somehow be beyond them. You cannot move beyond your wounds until you fully acknowledge them. And when we experience self-doubt, it is often triggered by present, but rooted in the past. That is so true. Because as my normal job that I do as a counselor and different other things, it is often so much the case that everything is triggered by something in the present, but the feeling is rooted from the past. So her questions to you to write in your journal are, as a child, I felt discouraged when I felt at a loss about, I wish I hadn't blank, a person who I suspect damaged me creatively was, I wonder if, and answer that any way that you want. And then the next topic is shadow artists. I really love this one because I've done a lot of inner work and shadow work, and I find this one super interesting. So she calls it shadow artists, but this is a kind of a weird term. Shadow artist is a term that I devised for a person who spends their time and energy near an art form, but somehow on the sidelines of that art form. So this shadow artists are often interested in the art form, but they're sensing, because they sense they have a gift in that area, but they feel safer not participating directly. Rather than making an attempt to participate, they find themselves standing closer to the dream. And when they're retired, these hidden artists may find that the passion for the art form they shadowed is actually a long buried desire that has been harboring within themselves. So maybe if your whole life you dreamed that you would make money by being an artist, maybe when you're retired or you have that time, you can actually do that. Or maybe you just want a career change and that's what you actually have always wanted to do, but have been too scared to do. So I thought that was super powerful. Before long, shadow artists are finding themselves succeeding at their game. Their years on the sidelines have made them acutely aware of just what's necessary to fulfill their dreams. And using this knowledge and shortcuts do pay off. Once convinced they lacked an edge, they discover, in fact, that they have an edge. And it is common for shadow artists to feel critical of other people's work in the art form that they desire to be part of. So that's really interesting because I know in my times in my life, I've looked at people doing things that I've wanted to do and thought, I don't know about critical, but just envious of like, wow, they've really done what they wanted to do. They've put their heart and mind to something and they've like stuck to it and made a living from it. And I thought, wow, that's so powerful. So those are the things that we're to think about. That is that instead of looking back and wondering, wishing we had done, now is the time to take a small step towards that dream. And then she talks, the next one is about crazy makers. This one was kind of funny. So that she is talking about people in your life that are downers, negative energy suckers, people that kind of put a damper on the things that you love or want to do better at. She calls them crazy makers, or people who thwart the creativity of those they love. If you are involved with a crazy maker, I'm sure you know it. They share certain qualities. Crazy makers break deal and ignore schedules. They expect the world to cater to their whim. They may discount your perceptions. They may spend your time or money. They may triangulate those they deal with. They are superior in blaming. They create drama, but seldom where it belongs. They hate schedules except their own. And they love chaos, and they love creating chaos and craziness around things. And then they deny that they're a crazy maker. And she's not saying the person's crazy. She's just saying that they're like a chaotic person who is kind of, I call them like the life suckers, the negative Nellies, the ones that show up anytime. And I don't know, that they seem to stick to you too. I seem to draw people in that can be like that for some. There's different reasons, but there's this oh, I'm totally blank. There's this quote in the side of the book, and it says, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So she's just talking about recognizing those people in your life that are always kind of seeing the negative or never bringing you up or never encouraging you to go towards your dreams, and put yourself around people that love you and care about you and encourage you. And if you don't have that somebody, you can go online and find some therapy and counseling and someone that will support you and help you excavate your thoughts and dig through and do what needs to be done and support you in a powerful way that's positive. Because that person that comes in your life can really silently make you debilitated, because you could have all these ideas and then there's this somebody just puts this like stomp on something and says something negative about it, and you drop that whole thing. And then 10 years later or 50, 20 years later, you look back and now it's a U-turn. You're looking back through when the book said about U-turns and how you started this amazing project. You thought you knew you could do it, you wanted to do it, or you started this new job or whatever it was that you was going to school, whatever it is, and you completely did a U-turn for some reason. And so the whole key of this, I believe, that she's talking about getting away from that, is just so it doesn't distract you from what you really want to do and love. So she has some tasks about these crazy makers. Have you ever known one? Are you involved with one? What creative action do you suspect you are blocking with this involvement? Do you suspect you might be a crazy maker? Or crazy makers are experts at using energy incorrectly. One of the best defenses is positive action. What positive action, however small, can you take right now on your own behalf? Take this action. And then her tasks. The last one is anger. And because sometimes we have resentment when we realize that we have this person in our life or what they're doing and how they're creating a block for us of confidence or whatever it is, and we can be angry. And then she says, if you want, you can write down this 5 times. If I let myself admit it, I'm angry that. If I let myself admit it, I'm angry that. And you can do that as many times as you need. And then she says, looking at what you wrote, allow yourself to write honestly in depth for 20 minutes about that, so you can find a place of clarity when you are done. And I thought that was so awesome. So I know I've took a while, but I thought that this was just so important to read a bunch of the book tonight because the things were so good. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope that you take something away. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions. If you want to get the book, there's a link in the description box below. And I will be back with week 6. Follow along at your leisure. Reigniting a sense of humility. That one's going to be super good. I don't know about you, but I'd love to hear about, as we're almost at the halfway mark, if what you have got out of this. And if you have been reading it, got the book. I've heard from a few people that they've ordered the book from the library. Another one has bought the book. Another one has told me that there's some really significant little aha moments, and that it's been really powerful thinking and a great tool to just discover more about yourself and help you get rooted into what you want to do and where you are at this time in your life and how you can go forward. So I thought that was really awesome. And I don't think anybody's following it exactly. I could be wrong and someone could be doing it totally perfect, but I'm certainly not. And I'm not doing my morning pages exactly every day. And I'm just doing the best that I can. And that's why I said I'm not following this exactly week by week. I'm doing it when I can around different things because I'm traveling and doing different stuff. And oh, our little stray cat's outside. He's here for a visit. Oh, I see him. So anyway, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and yes, if you're still here, please subscribe to my channel because I'm going to have tons more of these, and I have a whole slew of ideas of different topics that we can talk about. And I also have some free events coming up. I've been doing free classes online for a while, and I haven't been doing it, but I'm going to start very soon, as soon as I'm done a bit of this different traveling that I have planned. And then we're going to get back on schedule with that, and I'll keep you posted when that is. But anyway, I hope you guys have a fabulous day. I won't keep you any longer. The book is It's Never Too Late to Begin Again by Julia Cameron. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye, friends.